Part 3. Part 3 of Ethan versus Doug. EVS versus Doug, and my perspective. Part 3 in a 3-part series. Oh, this is so ridiculous. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Because you guys wanted it. That's why I am doing it. So let me pop over. Boy, a lot of comments. A lot of comments. Some good, some bad, some ugly. There's people who see me doing this, sowing some sort of a division. I'm not sure. I don't understand that. Division amongst whom? I'm just giving my perspective. I'm giving a third perspective to this little radio play. You're getting Ethan's perspective. You're getting Doug's perspective. And yet somehow, if I also add my perspective, I am sowing division into the community. I don't get it. But hey, to each their own. As you do come in, please hit that like and hit that share button. I'd like to get as many people in here as possible. I want to try to make this relatively short because I know John Malin beat my 30-day record. That's fine. And if you have not already, please do. It is John Malin's last night for Graveyard Shift 2. Sorry, Malin draws everything. Graveyard Shift 2. If somebody in the chat could put that link in the chat, I would appreciate it. Oh, is the Jack Show on right now? Darn it. And here I am stepping on their toes. Well, you guys can come back and watch this later. John is gloating. All right, never mind. Don't come back and watch this later. You can go watch the Jack Show later. I just want to get through this. I want to get over this. I don't want to be worrying about this tomorrow, and I know you guys wanted me to get through the rest of this little conversation. So, Malin whooping that booty. He is. I relent. John Malin, you have defeated me. You have crushed my spirit and my dreams. So, if everyone would like to go throw some extra dirt on my grave, just go ahead and back Graveyard Shift 2. And thank you, Comic Book Bob. 120 for Graveyard Shift. All right, Concrete Leper, we don't swear here. If you want to insult me, you're going to have to do it without swear words. I'm not even done with part 2. Sorry, Timotei. I'm ready to be sad again. Have you seen the Reddit post talking about this? No, I have not. But hey, if you are new here, please do like and subscribe and do all that fun stuff that you do when you come to a YouTube channel and you enjoy the content. Hopefully you will enjoy this content. Regulars, please hit that like, hit that share button. Let's get some peeps in here. And yeah, if you want to, please do check out. I also have my own comic down in the description. Lone Star, Soul of the Soldier, and Lone Star Monster Hunt, as well as the Meg 6-Gun and Deal with the Devil in the description. Please do check those out if you are new. So without further ado, I turned the volume a little bit because listening back, it seemed like the volume was a little too low for these guys, so maybe I turn it down. I don't want it to be too high. You guys tell me if it's too high.
They took it over like Black Lives Matter. They took over the rainbow. This is all stuff that I was trained under Breitbart to see. These are Alinsky tactics. If you go down the list, check them off. They all do it. And then they also attack your business. And so when I see it happen, I start to recognize the patterns and go, I get what's going on. I just don't really, most of us, in fact, don't raise a lot of drama over the gay issue anymore. It's old and boring. The trans issue is getting boring. And one day, marrying children will be boring. Marrying children and
they're laughing. I mean, but that's the slippery slope. So I don't think it's terribly funny. It is correct.
Dolphin children, marrying dolphin children.
Yeah.
Destruction of the. I heard Paul Williams, the writer of it. What would you like? And I'm 6.
One of you it's about, but it's an area I'm not too fond on. This movement is going to hit the ground hard.
Guys, for the people that are new here, there's no swearing allowed on my channel. Thank you.
Doug doesn't change his only allowed the SJW ideology to exist in their books, but CG is a platform / guild that is open. Do I have to marry?
The super chat's kind of slow this whole thing down. I'll just keep going until Nick is done.
My thoughts. I've made my thoughts pretty clear.
I just think the standings out there, because look, we're two guys who are mad at each other who I think used to, Doug used to care about me a lot. I still care about Doug quite a bit. And there are a lot of misunderstandings out there. So, we could sit here and yell at each other.
Hey, Dennis.
But, I've forgiven Doug. And I want to move on past Doug. I do. I want him to succeed and do his Earthworm Gem. I still don't want him to run down Comicsgate, because I think Comicsgate is a benevolent, good, and effective movement. And I'd hate to have to.
Oh, Dennis, you got a notification? This is my 4th stream today. You got a notification for this? They're acting like teenage girls.
Pose someone who probably feels the same as me about 90% of the issues when I'm trying to fight people who I disagree with 180 degrees opposite.
Well, then you shouldn't spend a whole day attacking someone you agree 90% with. Just saying.
I don't want to fight Doug. I don't want to fight Doug at all, and I don't want Doug to be fighting me, either to my face or behind my back. I don't want to be blocked by Doug on Twitter. I think that sends a bad message to our fans, and we have thousands and thousands of mutual fans.
No one would have known, Ethan. No one would have even known.
Well, but now they do, though. And again.
Yeah, now they do. Whose fault is that?
Well,
Ethan's.
Both of yours.
No, it's not both of theirs. It's Ethan's fault.
Why wouldn't you just mute me?
I didn't want it was the private talks and stuff. I didn't want, when I saw that, I went, not in my inner circle anymore. You're out. I just have there's no trust on that front, on the rainbow stuff. No way, no how. No way, no how. Been fine.
That's hard. I mean, that's not relating to this in particular, but just losing trust in people whom you did trust previously. Yeah, that's hard to rebuild. I'm a person. I trust easily. I'm a trusting person. My wife thinks I trust too easily. I am too willing to offer people the chance to screw me over, I guess. And too often she thinks I too easily forgive. Like, hey, that guy's kind of screwed you over. Learn your lesson. And don't, enter into a business relationship or whatever it is with that person again. You can trust. I mean, you can forgive and befriend. But that doesn't mean that you have to re-enter into the same kind of relationships that you may have been in before. And I gotta tell you guys, I do that. I do. I will forgive people, and I will enter into these relationships again, and I'll get screwed over again, and my wife will be like shaking her head at me, but I'm just I'm a trusting person. I don't lie. I don't lie. That is a rule. I'm not to say I'm perfect about it, but I'm saying that even before I was a Christian, when I was an agnostic, it was like, you know, I lived by my own code of ethics or whatever, but my one thing was honesty, right? Honesty. Isaac, can you hear me?
What?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you cover your ears? Make it louder. Okay. This is terrible. I was in bed with a girl one time, and she just straight up asked, she's like, "Are you using me?" And I was like, "Oh, crap. Why did you ask me that?" And I didn't lie. I couldn't lie. It was just this weird thing about me where I have to be honest. And so yeah, I lost out that night. But that was before I was a Christian. It was long, long before I was a Christian. But I'm just giving you a case in point. I'm honest to a fault. So that's why at one point in our relationship together, Ethan called me a liar, and I was done. I blocked him for like 6 months. I just didn't want to talk to him because he called me a liar, and like I said, that's since I was a kid. That was my one rule. And being a Christian, it's even more important, right? Let your yes be yes. Let your no be no. Anything else is evil. So, Mike, did you verbally say no but shake your head into saying yes? No, that was about it for the evening, actually. Yes, girl, I'm using you. Anyways, where did I start with all that? Oh yeah, just honesty and trust. And so, I mean, for some people like Doug, apparently, you know, that trust, for some people, trust is really, really, really hard to get over once it's betrayed. Mike. Big oof, Mike. Ha ha ha. At least you're honest. That chick was 3 degrees from murdering you. Yeah. Jenny. Her name is Jenny. Oh, man. That was a long time ago in a lifetime far, far away. So we won't talk about that again. I was just trying to make a point.
Fighting it too long. No way, no how. And it's not that I don't wish you well, don't want your business to do great, don't think you're a fellow creator, and that your business is important, and your family is important, your values are important. Just when that happened, I don't know.
When what happened?
Oh, the tweet about the Is Earthworm Jim.
Yeah, do you understand what that tweet meant, what it was referring to now? I mean, because a lot of people have, and including me, have made it pretty clear to you what that tweet was actually saying.
Well,
okay, I don't know. I think I covered it in part 2, but this obfuscation drives me bananas. It doesn't matter what that tweet was all about, quote unquote, that tweet was all about. What mattered was what that tweet said. It was a direct, targeted attack on Earthworm Jim. Half a day after Doug and Ethan had a long phone call where they smoothed everything out. Everything was smoothed out. Everything was copacetic. And 12 hours later, that tweet attacked Earthworm Jim. And I'm again, earlier he apologized for it. now he's just backpedaling and he's excusing it. You can't apologize and accept blame for something and then try to excuse why you did it. Right? Mike, your kids can just watch this later tonight. I didn't sleep with her. Just, that's the good news. I did not sleep with her.
I know
it's a complicated idea, but you understand that what it was basically saying was, why is it so easy for you to keep your politics out of something like Earthworm Jim, but not do anything but run down Comicsgate
Obfuscation, Your Honor.
bring your
Obfuscation.
politics, bring all of this stuff to a movement that is expressly, and you must have known from the very start, because we talk about it almost every day.
Nick literally could have been moderating this rather than just watching the argument, because he could have called Ethan on this right now. He really could have.
That is against that. That is against that kind of behavior. So you were able to do that long enough to get Bigfoot Bill funded. You're able to control yourself and the things that you say when it comes to Earthworm Jim. But somehow, once you get out of either of those situations and find yourself in a different room, suddenly you are compelled to just, I don't know, do whatever you want. Run down the people who helped you and kind of.
That's not true. You can't. I mean, you can say that, but it's not true.
Well, I'm not the only one saying it. I'm somebody who.
I don't care who else says it, Ethan. They're wrong too.
Well, Doug, you're wrong when you.
Dennis says Nick is a lawyer. He doesn't care about peaceful resolutions. Nick stayed in silence, just enjoying the show and counting the super chats. Man, I don't blame him at all. I probably would have done the same thing.
Block me for that tweet, because that tweet was a very pointed criticism of what you were doing and what you were saying.
No, it was a mean-hearted attack, and I don't like this. Ethan, if you're watching this, you just freaking own it. It was a mean-hearted attack. You know it. Just own it for real. Apologize, and don't try to excuse it again.
So when you say you're calling me anti-gay, that's not what I'm doing.
You said, is Earthworm Jim gay? I didn't say gay. I said I don't understand. I mean, is Earthworm Jim anti-gay? You said, is Earthworm Jim anti-gay?
Because you're saying anti-gay things. You are, and you've been saying it.
I'm not Earthworm Jim, buddy. I'm Doug TeNapel. Is Doug TeNapel gay? Is Doug TeNapel anti-gay? Not is Earthworm Jim. You tied it to the character. I'm saying, whether if you did it intentionally or not,
Doug,
I can't.
Ethan,
I can't be friends with a guy who's that sloppy to not know better what the tactics are. So you're either
Doug,
doing it on purpose, or you're stupid, and I think I'll forgive you because I think you're stupid.
No, come on.
Nick, if he's that dumb, he doesn't know the.
Now, he knows he's not stupid. He's just making a point. Same point I made earlier. It's Ethan's not stupid, and Doug knows he's not stupid, which means that Ethan knows what he was doing.
Lay of the land.
What is the lay of the land? What am I supposed to gauge your disingenuousness from moment to moment?
Well, I'm only saying, Ethan.
Did I take you at your word?
Yeah. Is Earthworm Jim anti-gay?
Is Comicsgate anti-gay? You knew the answer to that.
What's that word? Deflecting.
And so you got out of it and into another situation where you weren't allowed to express your views. Do you understand the tweet? How many more times does it need to be explained to you while you're calling other people stupid?
I do think it's stupid.
I explained it to you 8 times.
If people can't see, I mean,
everyone else is stupid.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Everyone who thinks that as writing is Earthworm Jim anti-gay is not trying to associate Earthworm Jim with
or manipulating you.
with being anti-gay,
Or
then,
manipulating you and trying to make you believe something that wasn't true.
well, that's gaslighting, buddy. I don't believe it. I think I've got a real good grasp of what
You were gaslit, Doug, because
I've
I've
gotta-
been speaking to you over and over again, and everyone in the chat understands.
I don't care what the chat thinks.
What's that? Appeal to authority? Is that appeal to authority? Someone correct me.
Thanks, Ethan. You're using it as
your misconception then.
no, you're using
Appeal to popularity. Thank you, unrelated comma. I forgot which of my logical fallacies Ethan was on this time.
it as a defense
reality.
for what you're saying. Yeah, well,
You're not paying attention to reality. I'm saying to you that your criticism of Comicsgate as being controversial doesn't make sense.
not
It's. I went over this in the previous stream. Comicsgate is absolutely controversial, and I think it is pie in the sky. Smoke it because you're high to think and to utter that Comicsgate is not controversial for the sake of winning an argument. I mean, can anyone in this chat, there's 128 people watching now. If you don't think Comicsgate is controversial, can you just type EVS is right? I'll give you 30 seconds. This is appeal to popularity, by the way. Yes. But I'd just like to know if I'm alone here. Does anyone honestly think, Harry Doyle, you really think that Comicsgate is not controversial? Yeah, so other than Harry Doyle, who was first out the gate. Oh, P Money says EVS is right. Kevin Ryan and Andrew. All right, so we got about 1 out of 8. He's playing dumb to win an argument. Very lame. You don't get how it's controversial? Have you? Maybe you've never... Okay, you know what? It's possible. Seeing that there are actually people, a handful at least, who think that Comicsgate is not controversial. Maybe you somehow came into Comicsgate through the back door, where someone just told you the ideal of Comicsgate, right? Someone just said, Comicsgate, it's about, not wanting SJW propaganda. It's about, treating customers right. It's about, and they just gave you all the ideals of what Comicsgate is. And 100%, the ideals of Comicsgate are not controversial. I said this in part 2. However, the movement of Comicsgate is the single most controversial thing in comicdom of the past decade, probably. It has absolutely torn the comic book industry creative population in half. It is pro Comicsgate, anti Comicsgate, and never the twain shall meet. It is hate and vitriol and backbiting and backstabbing and all of this crap wrapped up with a tidy little bow called Comicsgate. It was made controversial by leftist propagandists and mainstream liars. False. It was born as controversy. It was born as controversy. And then embraced by those who were willing to encourage the controversy. You don't think Cummings and Engeltine and Doug and your boy Zach were feeding a controversy about how just SJWs have been destroying the comic book industry? You don't think that's controversy? And then it was labeled Comicsgate. Put a nice little bow around it. Controversial doesn't mean wrong, though. You are correct, Sith Didymus. Yeah. It is right. Comicsgate, the ideals of Comicsgate are absolutely 150,000% right. But it's controversial. And anybody who really doesn't believe that, I don't know. Where have you been? Meanwhile, what? Doug saying Doug's opinions of which I share on marriage, on sin, on global warming. These are controversial, but Comicsgate isn't. I think Ethan is smarter than that, and I think he knows better than that, and I think this is a disingenuous argument at best.
Not controversial. A rainbow.
You have controversial views which you expand and are proud of them, and I'm proud of you for being proud of them. You should be proud of being who you are. But you bounce from one situation to where you're supposed to suppress your views to the next, and then you blame me for wanting to suppress your views. You find yourself in a situation again where anyone who points out exactly what you say over and over and over again.
This is all just obfuscating the same thing. I'm just going to move on. I'm tired of. I don't want to just keep harping on this because it's just blah 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 blah. The same thing. This is all about the tweet, and him trying to excuse going after Earthworm Jim, and it's really boring. I'm sorry.
You speak.
I back for a minute. Ethan had going back in. I
straight up trade for one thing for the next. One set of rights for the next. No, I mean part of Comicsgate is we don't talk about stuff like that. We don't. But
I'm talking in reference to Earthworm Jim though. Like that there, I feel like
I never heard that from Doug. Doug never said anything like that to me. That was a surprise to me. Doug told me that his situation with Earthworm Jim was just a straight up trade for one thing for the next, one set of rights for the next. At no point did Doug tell me that there was any kind of morals clause with Earthworm Jim, or that would have been much more clear to me. That seems to be
I've said there's a normal boilerplate in there that says I will not tarnish the brand, which I would not take as being that I cannot speak out against gay marriage or against whatever I think about whatever issue.
Hikaru says Ethan was way out of line going after Earthworm Jim. I think we all agree on that, at least most of us who are rational. Edwin says, interesting data point. There is no reporting on Comicsgate in mainstream news outlets in the past 4 months, only on comics-related websites. Should have been obvious. More EVS playing dumb. Nerd drama is low T. Comic Book Bob says, I'm all for calling people on things you disagree with, but this approach won't bear fruit. Bob, you don't have to watch if you don't want to. No, Mike, you just called everyone who agrees with you as irrational. Yeah, but I did it with a smile on my face. I'm tongue-in-cheek. Nasser punking CB at a con was the start. Well, I don't know if that was the start. Mike, do you think everyone who disagrees is irrational? No, I think they can just be wrong. But being irrational helps.
Global warming or whatever. That
would hurt you. Why would you think that me asking that question would hurt you?
Oh my gosh! How does? This is hard because, again, you guys know, I love Ethan, but that question was so painfully disingenuous. I mean, even look at Doug's face. His reaction is like, what the F are you talking about? Oh.
Screwed up. How's that even on topic? It's so weird. It has. What does that have to do with anything other than you would try to hurt me with it?
Context of you calling Comicsgate a controversial movement, Doug. Over and over. I can't
Ethan,
be associated with controversy, you said.
Yeah, Ethan, which has more proof? That Earthworm Jim is anti-gay, or that Comicsgate is a controversial movement? Which is more true?
Seriously.
Doug, neither.
You're more offended at what is true than what you said about me, which is about Earthworm Jim, which is false.
What is a more true statement? That Comicsgate is a controversial movement, or Doug TenNapel is a controversial man?
Oh, those are both absolutely true.
Yep.
Okay, so you're going to take that now into Earthworm Jim, and you're going to tell us that we are controversial, but we can't point out that you are controversial working on...
That's not what you did. You said... He's just trying to debate his way out of owning what he said was wrong. It's not hard to... I mean, it is... Okay, it's a little hard. When you've got a lot of pride, particularly, and you know you've been proven wrong, it is hard for some people, for most people, to own that they did something wrong. Ethan did something wrong. Ethan, you did something wrong. Just please, for the love of God, own it. This whole thing could have been like 45 minutes shorter if you'd have just owned it. Ethan, I know you're watching.
On a non-controversial project.
And you keep misstating that. I never had a problem with. It's not that Comicsgate is controversial. It's the parts of controversial that I would not risk my job for, Ethan. I will not risk my job for values that are not mine. Like doxing people. It's like those aren't my values, so I'm not willing to tarnish my brand with shit that goes on in Comicsgate all the time that I don't want anything to do with. The side that Comicsgate is for, voting for Trump, yes, those are my values. Fine, I'll take a knife for that, but that's not what Comicsgate was about. So I got out. Get it in your head. Clear up the story. That's just, I don't know how else to say it.
Doug,
it's not over it being controversial. It's over it being controversial over things that are not my values. I'm not willing to tarnish my brand stuff. That is not my values. I don't care about things that are my values. If Comicsgate came out and said, we are against global warming, we think it's fake, I'd be like, oh, cool. I agree with that. I'm willing to go to war over that.
Well, I'm not going to war over that, but...
So it's not just controversy. It's controversy in things I don't believe in and don't stand for. Is that clear? Not controversy.
I don't, Doug, so far the things that you don't stand for are me putting a rainbow in my tweets.
You going after Mike Miller for saying pride is a sin.
Yeah.
During Pride Month.
Mm-hmm. And we've talked about that. We've talked about that to death, Doug.
I know we've talked about this whole thing to death.
Yeah.
Ethan.
I'm kind of getting tired of this.
Well, if you guys have talked about it, I mean, there's a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of emotion.
How much longer is this?
In here, there really is, and it's clear why. This is.
Let's see what the chat is saying. Peter Mike says pride is a sin. It is indeed, Peter Mike. It is indeed one I am guilty of myself. Nasser, I'm sorry, Nasser. Have I been ignoring you? What have you been typing in here? You goofball. I'm telling you, me plus you plus RT Bear making fun of Paul is dead videos. I like the Paul is dead videos. Edwin says, I don't know if anything happened 4 months ago. I think it's just irrelevant to the larger news cycle. If Doug said, Custom Elvis asks, if Doug said that Cyberfrog is anti-Christian or even asked that question, I have no doubts Twitter would literally explode. Yeah. That'd be interesting. Interesting thought experiment. Playing retarded now. Refunding is BS. Refunding is BS, Bubblesky. Please, nobody refund anybody. Especially me. And again, 162 people watching now. Please, if you have not already, this is John Malin's last night. Well, it's not his last night, but it's his last night for the 30 days of his campaign. He has already tromped all over my record, so please, tonight's a good night to go out and get yourself some Graveyard Shift. To someone, please put that in the chat. Edwin says, we forget sometimes how irrelevant comic books are to society at large. 90+% of Americans will not read a comic book this year. I'm going to go with way more than 90%. Way more than 90%. Lone Star 1 and 2 tier bot. Mike, is there a shipping date? Well, ideally, I'd like to get it out by October, but it's already halfway through August. Dang it, I don't want to push this into November. I don't know. Winter. As soon as possible. Captain Hilt says, how would EVS have felt if the roles were reversed? If Doug said Cyberfrog was anything that might slander All Caps Comic as a brand? Well, I think perhaps my saying pride is a sin and it getting back to Ethan is the best, or not it getting back to Ethan, it getting back to Ethan through the channels that threaten his brand as Comicsgate. Ethan, if you're still there, hold on to that feeling for a moment and realize that that feeling is what you directly did to Doug with that tweet. And perhaps that'll give you a little different perspective and let you understand why he was so irate about it. Are you ignoring my off? Oh, that's already past all that. All right. Let's get back.
This is something I kind of want to transition the discussion into. In a weird way.
We're at an impasse, and I'm cool with moving on, but we're not gonna. The impasse isn't going to go away, so we're going to have to just get over it or get around it or whatever, because that impasse is not going away.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The link to John Malin's campaign is tankheist.com. Tankheist.com. So you can go directly there. Ron John says, why is it sinful to be proud? Please explain to me. It's detrimental to growth. Pride stops you from reflecting on what you need to change about yourself to be a better person or a better artist or a better writer or about a better anything. Pride is the antithesis of growth, of positive change in your life. That's just on a functional level. Pride is a sin as it puffs you up, right? It puffs you up to be better than the other, ultimately better than God, right? I did an entire, if you want to go back on my channel, there is, just do a search, Pride is a Sin. There's a whole video on it, going through all the biblical context of pride. So, you can do that if you have the time or the desire.
But I think we're both. I'm stuck in my views. I'm not coming off this. So there has to be another way around.
I think where the impasse is that
the impasse is ownership.
Creator, guys.
It's as simple as that.
And suddenly, where do we? Baggage. I mean, now our own.
It continues to go forward. I don't believe. I don't know. My personal view again is that customer service means not discussing things like this. Not making it a choice. The choice to buy Cyberfrog or not buy Cyberfrog shouldn't be a matter of what you personally believe. And
I'm confused a little bit on this because I mean, what you believe is fundamental to who you are. Are you not allowed to be who you are if you want to float the tag Comicsgate? Also, I'm a little confused why, if it's the case that what you believe you have to hold close and private, but every instance of disagreement in Comicsgate has to be done live on air. I don't know. I don't understand that. Maybe you can explain it at some point in the future, because...
And that's I think at the heart of Comicsgate. So where does it go from here? I mean, I don't know. The industry seems to be collapsing. The mainstream comic book industry is probably not going to be the same in 5 years. We're watching all this stuff go down, so we've got to figure out a way to swim or to survive the collapse of the industry. So I sometimes I feel like I'm feeling around in the dark, but I do believe in these principles. I do believe in them. I think they are the most inviting. I think they offer entertainment to the most possible people. I hear what Doug is saying. Doug is saying, look, by actually coming out and saying what I believe, I'm capturing my demographic. Okay, that makes sense to me too. That's one way to go. And that's Comicsgate should be kind of this thing that kind of initially gets people set up, gives them confidence to do their own thing, and then they should go their own way. Everybody tends to make their own company. Everybody's building their own island of sorts, metaphorically.
Okay, this is where I because of my disagreement on the definition of Comicsgate, I think this is, I mean, for whatever Ethan's definition of Comicsgate is, I guess that might fit with his purview. But for me, you guys who claim Comicsgate as fans, for me, looking at Comicsgate as a fandom, it doesn't matter if I'm Comicsgate. I am producing comic books that I would hope the Comicsgate fandom would be fans of, right? So it doesn't matter if I'm doing it on over here or over there, or with the hat on, or with a whatever. It's the fandom. I serve the fandom. Wherever I am, wherever I go, I want you to be there for me. I'm making things up. So, oh, but it matters, Mike, it matters. Why does it matter? Tell me why it matters. Tell me why it matters if I am friendly to the Comicsgate fandom. If I show nothing but love and respect to the Comicsgate fandom, but my definition of Comicsgate disallows me from being a fan, Hey, I'm a Star Wars fan. You know who's not a Star Wars fan? Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford's not a Star Wars fan. But are y'all Star Wars fans going to be like, oh, I don't want to watch Star Wars because Harrison Ford's in it and he's not a Star Wars fan? Huh? Right? So, I'll stick to my definition. And therefore, my definition, what Ethan's describing here, again, everyone can have their own definition. It's got no definition. But according to my definition, I do not qualify as Comicsgate. But I love Comicsgate and I serve Comicsgate. And if you will let me serve you, you are welcome in my restaurant. Enjoy. Try the kippers. I don't even know what kippers are. I don't know.
People are all making different choices about where to go from here. I don't know. I'm sad about Doug. I really don't know. I'm sad about the whole thing. I think it sucks.
Well, I think it sucks too, but again, emotion and disagreement on some of these basic things aside, like the views are not unaligned. They're not aligned on all fronts, obviously, but it seems like something that time takes care of to me. But I don't know. You guys are in the thick of it, not me.
No, I think time will take care of it too. I can't imagine sitting here and being this small over anything 20 years from now and saying I will not talk to Ethan and not greet him with a warm handshake. That would suck over this kind of a disagreement. I think
what about
time
2 months from now? What about a month from now?
It's possible. It's possible. I'm open to anything. I'm just not there now, but I'm just saying it would really surprise me if I met him in person and wasn't social and normal to. I mean, I see the Image guys. They fell apart. Todd McFarland and Rob Liefeld, where they at each other's throats, and then over time they swore they'd never talk to each other again. It may have taken 5 years, might have taken 10 years, and then they can talk again. But and in the meanwhile it hurts and it's kind of small. It's just I just don't think. I'm not trying to carry a burden against Ethan. That is not good for me, and it's not good for him. It's especially not good for me. So I'm not.
Yeah, that's a thing. I mean, it's kind of a generic thing to say, but yeah, if you're not, what is it? You allow somebody to live in your head rent free when you're unwilling to forgive them for things, for trespasses, I suppose you could say. What's interesting is I just got a DM from Doug. He was watching part 2, and I don't want to go into exactly what he said, but he's listening. He may not agree with my assessment of where I told him he was wrong on the stream, but he's listening and he's willing to hear me out. So my point to him, which I can say because it was my point, was that if someone feels betrayed, you cannot argue with somebody's feelings, right? So if Ethan feels betrayed, you can't talk him out of feeling betrayed. If fans feel betrayed, you can't talk them out of feeling betrayed. And just standing there, rigid-spined, stiff-necked, and swearing up and down that you didn't betray anyone. It's really kind of a moot point. Because if the people that you love, the people that you care about, feel, for whatever reason, that they have been betrayed, then that's a whole different ball of wax. You have to approach that. You have to approach them as people, as friends. You can't approach them as facts on a sheet of paper, and you can't sit there and say, look, 2 + 2 is 4. I didn't betray you. Right? You have to try to empathize and try to work around what the problem is so that you can get back to a place of normalcy. And at least he's open to it. I didn't get to say all that in the DM, but hopefully he watches this one and he hears me say that now, because this is all stupid. This is all friends fighting because they're type A chicken hawks who won't back down, who won't empathize with each other, who won't give in a little bit and accept blame, maybe even accept blame that's not theirs to accept, just for the sake of moving on and rebuilding a friendship. And it is tiresome. That's right, Stringfellow. It is tiresome. And it's stupid. Life is too short. I'm reading the chat now. Edwin said, this is why I had to decouple some. I'm not interested in people's ego battles. Yeah. I hear you, Edwin. I hear you. Loud and clear. No one nowhere says, Doug, send EVS pie. EVS, send Doug some hand soap. And all can be right with the world. Yeah. I don't think I even want to go any further into this. I don't know how much longer Doug is on the stream. But I mean, if you're friends, and hopefully by the end of this, you're both still friends with me. Sorry, I had to give my perspective, which disagrees with both of you. Man, extend a hand. You don't have to be, you don't have to be in business with each other. You don't have to sign each other's checks. You don't have to. But just be honest and own your crap. Own your crap. Eat a little humble pie, whatever it is. Yeah. Anyways, that's about it. It's 50 more minutes of my life I've sunk into this that I didn't really need to. So, thanks, Doug. Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, Nick. Thanks to the chat. Maybe a 10-minute summary? I get wanting to offer your own perspective, but a 3-part breakdown is a little much and just kind of extends the drama. Well, I think I had a little more interjection in this one than I did in the others, and hopefully I offered some level of resolution that these guys could come to. Ethan says, hope it was worth it, Mike. Don't even know what that means, but sure. The truth is always worth it. Speak the truth in love. Pride is a sin. God bless, guys. Peace out.